1995 State of Administrative Computing Program. My name is Cato Kalin, and I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I'm sorry, I apologize for that. My doctor has been warning me that I'm watching too much television, but I do notice that I'm not the only one. This group down here on the front row, as soon as I said Cato Kalin, they started working the thumb on the remote control unit. Seriously, my name is John Wheat. I'm a member of the Public Access Group in the Data Processing Department. And this is a program that our department sponsors every 2 years to give all of us who are involved in administrative work at the university an opportunity to pause for just a moment, to step back from the chaotic work in our day-to-day responsibilities and take stock on where we've been over the last 2 years from an overview perspective and try to get some coherent sense of where we're going over about the next 2 years with the use of information technology for the administration of the university. I think you'll find that we have a very interesting and exciting and entertaining program today, and most of all, hopefully very informative. What we've attempted to do is try to give you some sense of all the accomplishments that have happened over the last 2 years by inviting a representative sample of people who have been involved in a number of our most important successes to give you a quick series of headlines and highlights from those accomplishments. Now, I want to assure you that these are not, in any sense, an exhaustive list because there have been so many accomplishments, and I'm sure many of you will sit in the audience and think of examples that we could have presented as well, and I'm sure you're right. But I think you'll also be impressed by the amount of progress that has been made in the last few months and years. And that will be the first part of our program, headlines and highlights, and we'll get that underway in just a moment. The second part of the program will switch gears and take a look at where we're going over the next 2 years by examining some of the trends that we will believe continue to shape administrative computing over the next months and years. Let me mention just a couple of administrative things before we get started. One is, because of the size of the audience and the length of the program, there's really no way for us to be interactive today in the sense that we can't get your comments back to us, your questions and suggestions. However, we have provided for you in the program the email ID of all the speakers and, importantly, an email address on the back of the program for general questions that you might have that wouldn't be addressed to specific speakers. So I really encourage you to think of this overall as an interactive event in that we encourage your questions, comments, suggestions after the event is over in the form of electronic mail. So, without any further ado, because we have a full program, I'm going to turn the show over to John Camden to start with the headlines and highlights.
Software AG is a major international software vendor. Their products include Database, our database management system, Natural, our fourth-generation programming language, and a host of networking and client-server tools. Software AG has an installed base of over 4,000 clients worldwide. Software AG celebrated their 25th anniversary last year, 1994. They produced a celebration video that highlighted 6 organizations that exemplified innovative strategic use of Software AG products. Their company motto is, "Our success is measured by the success of our customers." The highlighted companies included US Air, City of Munich, Germany, ZDF International Broadcasting Company, Chase Manhattan Bank, Nissan Automotive, and the University of Texas at Austin. These are 2 clips from the video. Also in 1994, Pennsylvania State University performed a national benchmarking project. Their purpose was to establish a base for innovative, strategic information technology at Penn State. The university chosen to compare themselves to were Wisconsin, Michigan, Illinois, UCLA, and the University of Texas at Austin. It was an honor to be chosen among the top 5 universities. It was further an honor to be chosen and highlighted as a top administrative information technology organization.
Hello, my name is Jim Niker. I'm from the Ex-Student Association. This weekend, we'll see the completion of the first phase of the VIP system, which is perhaps the most advanced alumni and donor relations record system yet created. The VIP system, which stands for Very Important People, combines information kept on ex-students, law, and development office files into a single, highly efficient database. In operation since last November, several hundred users from all parts of the campus work as a team to maintain almost 500,000 records. Each record keeps up with 6 current addresses, with 10 more stored in history, phone, fax, and cellular numbers, email addresses, occupational codes, all types of cross-referencing, degrees from UT Austin as well as other universities, donor, pledge, and gift information, and much more. When Phase 1 is completed, there are expected to be 1,000 updates made on the VIP system per day. A truly exceptional programming team is responsible for bringing the VIP system to life. Led by Kathy Lester, they have come up with creative and innovative solutions to meet the particular needs of campus departments, as well as interact with a diverse and very active group of users. It is easy to spot a VIP programmer. Most of them have not slept since October. The university teamwork upon which the VIP system depends is perhaps best exemplified by the system's mascot, dubbed the VIP Man. Something like a traveling trophy he is awarded to a department at the end of our monthly user group meetings, something we call town meetings, and always returns bearing souvenirs of his travels. Thus far, the VIP Man has received an embroidered cape from the data processing department, along with suspiciously an empty bottle of Maalox, a toolkit to fix programming bugs from the law school, some extra strength aspirin for those late nights from the development office, a customized t-shirt from the LBJ School of Public Affairs, running shoes for extra speed from the College of Engineering, a battery backpack to stay energized from the College of Pharmacy, a banana yellow surfboard on which to surf the internet from the Graduate School of Library Science, and an orange power tie and briefcase from the College of Business Administration. Just as the VIP Man improves with each contribution, so does the information stored on the VIP system benefit from the teamwork of the campus community. Even though Phase 1 is almost finished, we are already looking forward to Phase 2 and believe it will be just as exciting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Shelby Stanfield. I'm from the Office of Admissions. You know, imaging is not a new technology. As a matter of fact, it's been around for about 10 years. The difference here is how we're using this technology, that is integration with our administrative computer system. Now, a document image is simply a picture of a piece of paper stored in electronic form. But by having it in electronic form, there's a lot of things you can do with it that's virtually impossible to do with paper. For example, from an application running on our administrative computer system, you can retrieve a document image off a CD and have it appear on your screen. Now, our last piece of software was delivered from our vendor in late November of 1994, and by early January of this year, we were in limited production at the Graduate and International Admissions Center. With imaging and the tools built to support document imaging, we have 12% more files out of the graduate departments now than we had this time last year. We also have 500 more complete files in our office than we've ever had at any one time. So even in limited production, we're beginning to see the benefits. So what's next? Well, we're currently refining our process, and we're evaluating different workstation configurations, monitors, and caliper Macs. We're also expanding to the registrar's office, and we've been talking with various graduate departments about them coming online as well. From the beginning, the objective of the UT Austin Imaging Project was to provide a campus-wide resource to be used by any office. Now, we're still in the developmental phase of this project, but we've made great strides over the last 2 years. So if you're interested in any aspect of the document imaging project, please feel free to give me a call.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Fuller from the Data Processing Department. And in this past year, we've seen quite a few developments in the appointments area in Define. Last spring, about a year ago, we finally released the appointment change electronic document, which helps make appointment changes easy to do. And now, in the past few weeks, while these appointment documents have spread, we now have a variety of documents for different job types, which allow you to hire or change an employee's job position. And these include the long-awaited administrative professional staff and also assistant instructors. And soon we will have faculty appointments, and then maybe we can really get rid of those paper forms. But it wasn't only just programmers and data processing doing the work here. Many of you out there also played an active role in these developments through joint application design, through participation in the user group, and also just by your special invitation to report to your group. And I would like to thank everyone who was involved for your participation, for your help, for your encouragement, and for your feedback.
I'm Faye Stager from the Office of Human Resources. One of the goals of OHR is to make information available to UT employees, applicants, and other customers in an easily accessible and understandable format. Two information systems that reflect this goal were recently introduced by the Office of Human Resources. First, a new Define module, the Employee Time Menu. This new system to manage vacation and sick leave was developed through a joint effort by representatives from the Office of Human Resources and other UT departments. Added capabilities include maintenance of compensatory time, overtime, and sick leave pool balances, current month postings of transactions, automatic addition of new employees, automatic retroactive adjustments to vacation and sick leave accruals, and online access to 15 months of transactions and balances. The second information system is an advanced PN Jobs module. The newly redesigned PN Jobs system provides listings of available employment opportunities at UT Austin and UT System. This system now allows one to search based on area of employment interest, minimum salary, and job title. PN Jobs is now accessible worldwide via the internet and on a touchscreen version accessible through the iTower on the UT Austin campus. These are only two examples of the many technological advancements OHR has implemented in an effort to achieve our goals. We'll be back with more.
Hello, my name is Mike Allen. I'm from the Office of the Registrar. In April of 1990, students first began to hear the words, "Welcome to TEX," the telephone enrollment exchange for the University of Texas at Austin. Although commonly referred to as telephone registration, TEX utilizes a touch-tone voice response technology to make a wide range of services convenient to students. There are now 11 services available on TEX, 4 of which have been added in the last 2 years, and there will be several more added by August. A few more numbers for you. The system has been upgraded 3 times in the last 5 years, can handle 272 calls simultaneously, and processed 1.4 million calls last year. I guess you could say TEX was a fast talker. This project exemplifies a world that is becoming increasingly complex and interdependent. Although it simplifies the lives of students, it requires increased coordination and participation between offices that utilize TEX services. So far, TEX has been a success. Students believe what they hear when they call the system. And the success for this goes to many people, the credit for this goes to many people on this campus. They share a sense of responsibility for the system and are aware that it's a very high-profile system. They understand that the credibility is dependent on constant and consistent effort to improve services. It's been a pleasure for me to be associated with this project and these people. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Bretna Hackert with the Office of Accounting. Last year, we worked on a lot of enhancing of the internal controls in Define, and we also did some things to bring us into compliance with the IRS. But from the IRS, we now have the capability to pay vendors by direct deposit. That could be you getting a travel reimbursement. It could be direct deposit if you so choose. Our work on things more visible to the UT community include the entertainment payment voucher, fringe benefit forecasting, and checkbook-style reporting in Report Writer. Accounting adds about, several million transactions to the accounting records every year. Due to efficiency, we had to archive the older transactions last year. In doing so, we were able to facilitate a variety of access to these older transactions in the viewing screens. Our education and training group does more than just answer your questions on the phone, as you see Gary up there. They have also spent much time enhancing the online documentation in Define and participating in JAD groups. You also have participated in JAD groups. We appreciate that. Together, we can develop more access and functionality for you. Thank you.
I'm Curtis Ollendorf from General Libraries. In January, we introduced an enhanced version of UTCat, our online catalog. This new version provides powerful author, title, subject, and mixed keyword searching based on Software AG's text retrieval system. Our users can now limit, revise, and modify their searches and have the results of these searches sent to their local email address. The new version of UTCat retains the old familiar author, title, subject, and call number browse searches where the user can open a catalog at any point with a search and page forward to the end of the file. The new version of UTCat has many new commands and features, such as the ability to limit a search by library location, format of material, language, date of publication, and place of publication. As users conduct searches, they have the ability to reduce or increase the size of their search of their results set by using the narrow broaden command. Also, users can use a review command to see their 6 most recent searches. They can then select any one of them if they choose and combine that search with other searches or resubmit it as it is, or even create a new search using that as part of the criteria. The file command can be used to select individual brief records on a brief record display in UTCat and file those records in a temporary file. Then the view command can be used to see all the records that they have filed, and then the mail command is used to either send a complete set of search results to a user or to themselves or to someone else if they feel like someone else needs to see the records, or they can mail the temporary file of selected records. General Libraries hopes that each one of you will make use of the new tools in the enhanced version of UTCat, and we welcome any comments that you may have about the new features which we have introduced. Thank you.
Hi there, my name's Lynn Litton and I'm from Data Processing. I'm working with Project iTower. Now, Project iTower is a campus-wide effort which is coordinated by Data Processing's Public Access Group, and it's to provide interactive public workstations to the UT community which require no training to use, and which provide a convenient source of information about everything from the origin of Bevo to the availability of financial aid. Project iTower has posted 2 major accomplishments in last year. First, 5 workstations have been deployed around campus during 1994. You can see at the top of the slide a picture of a student using one of them, and this particular kiosk is in the Flan Academic Center lobby. We are planning to deploy a few more of them in the near future. We're also planning to expand the surfaces available on the public workstations, and in the development stage are access to information stored on internet, secure access to and update possibilities for some kinds of personal information, and a voice menu system. Second major accomplishment, we have had 2 different kiosk developers workshops during 1994 and 95. And they were attended by developers from universities from all over the U.S., from Cornell to the University of Hawaii, and by other developers from as far away as Germany. And evaluation forms filled out by the attendees indicate that our workshops were considered very, very valuable to them. And we were very impressed with that. We liked that. We're planning to have more kiosk developers workshops in the future as well.
I'm Chuck McLennan, and I'm standing in for Lee Smith, the Assistant Vice President for Business Affairs. It's been his job to ensure that the University of Texas at Austin is in compliance with the laws and regulations relating to the utilization of historically underutilized businesses, or hubs. Texas has had a hub program for several years. In 1993, the Texas legislature adopted a series of statutes which placed new emphasis on agency reports on various aspects of their purchasing activities. We developed the administrative hub reporting system under Define in order to meet the detailed reporting requirements established by these laws in a decentralized purchasing environment where as many as 2,000 employees may be involved in purchasing-related activities. In the course of a year, the university will spend about $140 million in over 80 different commodity groups that must be accounted for in preparing the required hub reports. The administrative hub reporting system allows us to evaluate every single purchase transaction at the university on the basis of the commodity group involved, the dollar size of the purchase, the identity of the vendor, the unit that made the purchase, the account number that was used, and the fund group that it belongs to. The State General Services Commission is currently in the process of adopting regulations which will require us to submit reports in even greater detail. It's hard to believe. The administrative computing solution that we developed for hub reporting has the built-in flexibility for us to make these modifications so that the University of Texas continue to meet its obligations.
Hi, I'm Mary Knight from the Budget Office. Many changes have taken place in the Budget Office in the last year, and there's many more to come. These changes will lead to less paperwork and more useful reports. Currently, 7 of the 10 academic components are using our system to produce their budget. One of the health components is going to be using it this year for the first time. The Board of Regents recently adopted a new budget format. The format will greatly reduce the size of the budget. Currently, it's about this big. We're going to reduce it to a primary document that's about an inch thick. This will make the document much more manageable and useful. Along with this change, the salary rosters are also being revised. It'll include more information for the deans and administrators. Now, with the majority of the components on our system, this enables the System Budget Office to ensure consistency across components, and it also makes these types of changes a lot easier for them to implement because our analyst handles it for them. A great deal of progress has also been made toward automating the budget recommendation forms into Define. Currently, it's a very paper-oriented, labor-intensive process for both the departments and the Budget Office. During the past year, several committees have been meeting to design the online budget documents and also the reports and commands for Define. While we're developing these new Define commands, departments have been given access to our current budget system, and they're now able to download appointment and budget information onto a PC spreadsheet. We're currently working with the paper-oriented budget system right now, and I'm sure you all just went through it. So we are very motivated to complete the automation process, and if you'd like to participate in the development, we'd be happy to have your input. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Paul Comer with UT System OHR. We've just brought up a new workers' compensation application, STAR WC Menu. It's used for all injury reporting by 15 of our academic and medical components, including UT Austin. It contains line item detail of medical bills, it creates compensation payments, and it prints forms identical to the state mandated forms over the internet to our offices in Houston, Dallas, El Paso, and Austin. We continue to enhance it to meet the needs of our users. Right now, we're trying to eliminate daily paper runs to the Texas Workers' Compensation Commission with electronic filing. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Bill Bard. I'm with the Computation Center here at UT Austin. And if you'll bear with me just a little while I talk about the scintillating topic of network security, I'll have an announcement for you toward the end that might be of some use to some of you. My group within the Computation Center is responsible for the campus computer network we call UTNet. As you're probably aware, UTNet connects UT Austin to the internet. It also connects about 15,000 computers on the campus to one another. From its inception, UTNet has served primarily the academic community within the campus, and as it permeated the campus, an increasing number of users began to sense that, you know, it sure would be nice to be able to get access to administrative applications through the same workstation that they used for everything else. However, UTNet really wasn't designed with the necessary security in mind to do that. And the university requires that all its administrative information be secured. I need to repeat that. The university requires that all of its information, administrative information, be secured. So about 2 years ago, working together with the Computation Center and the Data Processing Department, we came up with a proposal to provide the necessary security in access across UTNet. We took the proposal to the University Computer Security Committee, and they approved it. We began development on an architecture to provide this access. About a year ago, testing began on a Macintosh client that some of you out there are using. An increasing number of departments across the campus are using that. That client works in conjunction with a server provided by Open Connect Systems, a Dallas-based company. And since then, the Data Processing Department has issued a statement of direction, which is a comprehensive strategic direction for access across to their applications across UTNet. Today, this is where the drum roll would be, I want to announce the availability of a similar client for use with Windows-based systems, which is the other major component of that. Thank you, thank you. As usual, this software is free to people at UT Austin. Furthermore, all of these clients work with Telesys, so you can now work at home. We hope to provide, working with cooperation with the Data Processing Department, similar secure network-based application services in the future. If you've got any ideas, we'd welcome them. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is John Valero. I'm with Data Processing. UT Access is a full-screen terminal application that provides internet access to official information services of the university. These services are maintained on the administrative computer system. UT Access is similar in form and function to UTCAT Plus in that, one, it serves as a general menu system that lists and invokes a variety of administrative applications developed by different offices, and two, it is accessible from virtually any microcomputer connected to the internet. UT Access made its official debut on campus in December of last year. It is open to all university offices wishing to provide services from the administrative computer system directly to students, faculty, staff, and the general public. The use of encryption provides a secured access method which protects confidential information over the internet. With a secured access path, UT Access can be used to process, update transactions, and conduct electronic commerce. The following services are already available on UT Access, and more are to come. Campus-wide calendar of events, students, faculty, and staff directory, list of available UT Austin jobs, course schedule and class availability, and course instructor surveys. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Richard Mendez. I'm from the Computation Center. In 1450, Johann Gutenberg invented the printing press. This machine revolutionized the production and distribution of printed materials. In 1995, you and I are living in the midst of a new revolution in publishing. It's called World Wide Web. The web was created by Tim Berners-Lee about 5 years ago, and already today, thousands of universities, businesses, government agencies, and individuals are using the web to deliver information quickly, efficiently, and inexpensively to a worldwide audience. This university is a major web publisher. UT Austin Web Central, announced only last April, has become the university's primary interface to the internet. Over 400,000 users have connected to this page this year. On this campus, thousands of students, faculty, and staff are using Web Central to get information and to publish information. Last month, the Computation Center, General Libraries, and Data Processing Department formed Team Web. Our mission is to better support and provide web use and web publishing here at UT. I invite you to join us in this revolution. Thank you.
I'm Matt Lyon from the Office of the President. Another point of progress worth highlighting is the growing sense of partnership and cooperation within the campus-wide information technology community. Indeed, technological advances that facilitate joint activities have a key role in the university's future, and particularly in Dr. Berdahl's vision for the University of Tomorrow. Islands of computing are relics in today's environment. Individual desktop and laptop computers and other portable devices capable of accessing a wide range of computer services and resources are the waves of the present and future. But if these advances are going to be successful, our community must accept the cultural changes they impose. To be part of a single, integrated information world, we must properly be the builders and developers and integrators of our place in such a world. And therefore, we must create a culture of cooperation and partnership here at UT. With that goal in mind, Data Processing has now hosted 2 information technology retreats. The first was in October of 1993, and it brought together people from a central administrative office, many central administrative offices who are directly involved in administrative computing. The second retreat in January of this year widened the scope of participation to include representatives from diverse constituencies across campus. Although the retreat retained the distinctive flavor of administrative computing, participants included people from most of the computing organizations on campus, the vice president's offices, and several dean's offices. The retreat brought key players together to discuss new and better ways of building bridges for communication among ourselves, laying the groundwork for a common campus computing vision, and establishing camaraderie among everyone involved with and affected by information technology. If you are interested, a report from the retreat is available which highlights several important campus-wide initiatives that reflect these new levels of partnership and cooperation at UT. Those who have led us
about this program is that in addition to the low prices, you may order the licenses, manuals, and diskettes separately. So for your department, you can buy software license for each machine, but get by with 1 set of diskettes and a couple set of manuals. The license for the new Microsoft Office 4.2, which consists of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, is $32. And there's a liberal upgrade policy. Each individual copy of Word, Excel, or PowerPoint that you own now can count as an upgrade to the Office suite, and the upgrade price is $26. And this program covers all Microsoft software. For the Macintosh, that would include Microsoft Works or Fox Pro. And I should also mention that this is Microsoft, that it covers DOS and Windows NT and applications for these operating systems. The program is administered by 800 Software. Call them at 1-800-888-4842 to place an order or to get more information, or you can look on the web in the Computation Center's software distribution section and obtain a list of prices. Take advantage of the savings offered by this program.
Hi, my My name is Lee Cody, and I'm an apprentice in the Information Analyst Pool that was established this year by the Data Processing Department. The purpose of the Information Analyst Pool is to provide human resources in the areas of programming and analysis for all departments on campus. My initial training will take approximately 18 months. I've recently completed the first phase of my training, Learning Natural, a fourth-generation computer programming language. This took about 5 months. I am presently in the apprenticeship program for system analysis and design and will complete this phase in July. As part of my training, I've also been assigned to a project in the Office of Institutional Studies. I'm already a productive member of this team, and through my training, I'm made aware of the latest technology and techniques of our discipline here on campus. The Information Analyst Pool is the university's assurance that all forces brought together to successfully accomplish these administrative needs will be done so by the leading edge of this technology and human knowledge. You may take advantage of the Information Analyst Pool by contacting the Data Processing Department.
I'd like to thank the members of the Academy, my director, John Wheat, and the fine production from the Data Processing Production Company. Howdy. My name is Morgan Watkins, and I'm with the Computation Center. And until about a moment ago, I was the manager of the Microcomputer Technologies Group. In October of last year, 1994, PBS came to the University of Texas to put together an episode for the Computer Chronicles, a very well-known personal computer television show, about the new PowerPC chip technology that came to fruition with Apple, IBM, and Motorola here in Austin, Texas. The show portrayed the University of Texas as one of the early adopters of the new technology as it was introduced in the Power Macintosh computers from Apple. The show focused on both administrative and academic uses of the new machines. A couple of the projects that were shown during this show were the iTower Information Centers and the Student Microcomputer Facility in the Flan Academic Center. Granted, there are no Power Macintosh computers in there, but PBS said it was photogenic and the machines almost made it in there. The University of Texas continues to be one of the largest Macintosh sites in the world. Our special relationship has helped bring a lot of new technology here first, and we are certainly one of the earliest adopters of their Power Macintosh computers.
I'm Mike Vandervoort from the Business Manager's Office, and I'm glad to be here and congratulate Administrative Computing on your success over the past 2 years. And in listening to these highlights, it makes us realize that this doesn't happen by chance. It happened because of the environment that you have created in administrative computing. And in that environment, every person is valued, encouraged, challenged, provided with the tools and training to do their job, recognized for their achievements, allowed to express creativity, and the opportunity to solve problems. And it's important for us in administrative computing to continue to nurture that environment. But not only do we recognize our accomplishments, Computer World magazine, the June 15th, 94 issue, recognized the University of Texas at Austin as one of the best places in the United States to work. And in closing, I want to thank you for being here and doing such a great job. And now let's please give ourselves a big hand.
All right, well, we've concluded the first portion of the program, the headlines and highlights, and I feel almost certain, and I certainly hope that all of you now agree with me that there's an impressive, very impressive scope and range of accomplishments that have taken place in recent months, and again, you're really just seeing part of the picture. But we're going to shift gears now and turn our attention to the second part of the program, one that we chose to entitle Building the University of the 21st Century. And I don't think that this is too much of an overstatement if you consider that what we're talking about here is what we're doing within administrative computing to do our part within the wider scope and wider mission of the institution to indeed build a new kind of institution for the next century. Our first speaker in this section is very appropriate because he can give us a wider and broader perspective than just the institution itself. We are honored and privileged to have with us this afternoon Dr. Mario Gonzalez, who is the Associate Vice Chancellor for South Texas and Border Area Development in the University of Texas System Administration. Dr. Gonzalez is a familiar face here at the University of Texas at Austin, though. He has been the chairman of the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering and the Associate Dean for Academic Affairs in the College of Engineering. He has had numerous awards and positions in the past. Before coming to UT Austin in 1986, he served 9 years at the University of Texas at San Antonio, where he was the founding director of the Division of Engineering at that institution. He has, for over 20 years, taught and done research in general areas of computer architecture with an emphasis on parallel processing. At this point, I'm going to turn the program over to Dr. Gonzalez and let him begin our second segment.
Thank you, John. Good afternoon. I'm pleased to be here this afternoon and to be part of the program and to discuss with you the UT System-Wide Information Technology Initiative. In my brief remarks today, you will undoubtedly conclude that the focus of my remarks is academic in nature, although I hope you will also conclude that if indeed many of the things that we hope to do and propose to do are successful, that all aspects of the enterprise will profit, whether it's academic or business or administrative computing. In terms of the initiative itself, we can break it down into three general pieces. There's the System-Wide Information Initiative, plus the parts that refer to the components, both within the components themselves and in terms of their outreach efforts. System-wide, we can break it down into three major pieces. Certainly we need interconnectivity and bandwidth. That's the first piece of it. And secondly, in order to promote interoperability, we need the equipment for control and switching that enable the components to exchange information, to share information, to participate in video conferences, to transmit courseware from one part of the system to another, and so forth. And finally, the third piece of it is associated with training. Before we go on to the next slide, I'd like to just reiterate a number of things here. First, it is never easy for us in the components to obtain funding for equipment, for the various kinds of things that we need to do to conduct our academic responsibilities. It is never easy. But I tend to feel that it is easier to get that kind of funding than it is to get funding for operations and the daily kinds of things that we need to do to perform our duties. And I would include training in that category. So if you agree with the kinds of things that we're trying to do, namely, we need more bandwidth, we need the equipment for interconnectivity and interoperability and training, then I urge you, whenever you have an opportunity in your presentations and your proposals and the remarks that promote information technology across the system, I would urge you to think of this and do as I do if you believe in it and promote these different aspects. That is the bandwidth, the interconnectivity, the interoperability, and training. Now, these remarks focus on the kinds of things we hope to do in the future. In the second slide shown here, then clearly, it is clear that we've been doing a great number of things for many years. This is nothing new, and in fact, the UT system has been a leader not only in within Texas, but nationwide as well. One piece of evidence that suggests that leadership is that, for example, last semester we had over 650 hours of courseware being transmitted from one of our components to another. Over 650 hours. By some estimates, we feel that we could multiply that number by a factor of 5 to 10 if we had the bandwidth and the equipment and the wherewithal in general to do that. And I say this because I know that many of you have experienced frustrations because you cannot engage in the kind of system-wide distance learning activities that you would like to do, but cannot because of limitations on the schedule or bandwidth and so forth. And I would hope that if nothing else, this would indicate why higher bandwidth is such an important part of what we are trying to do system-wide. I mentioned that these kinds of exchanges of courseware have occurred system-wide, and to be sure they have, but we've gone outside the system as well. We have had initiatives in cooperation with the various components of the Texas A&M University system and with Texas Tech University. We have had courses being shipped back and forth, for example, in the recent past between UT Permian Basin and UT El Paso in mathematics. UT Medical Branch is working with UT Pan American to develop a physician's assistance program. UT Health Science Center San Antonio for a long time has been engaged in shipping courseware to UT Pan American and to UT Brownsville, so much so that last fall we had 14 students obtain their Master of Science degree in nursing from UT Health Science Center San Antonio without ever having set foot on the Health Science Center campus. Clearly an indication of the kinds of things we can do that we hope to be able to do at a much broader and higher scale in the future. In terms of additional cooperative activities, for some time now we have been engaging in discussions with the South Texas border schools, both within the UT system and the Texas A&M University system. So far we've had these kinds of meetings and discussions and video conferences in two areas, education and allied health professions. And we are at the point where, with a little luck, we might even have some exchanges and sharing of courseware between the two systems as early as this fall, at least in the area of education and perhaps in the second one as well. We've identified 3 other areas that we hope to develop in the near future: engineering, business, and marine science. Some preliminary meetings have already taken place, but we feel that we need to do a little better job of coordinating activities within the UT system before we attempt to branch out and engage in similar activities with other schools in the Texas A&M University system. So these are some of the examples of the kinds of collaborative ventures that have already taken place in higher education and in the state of Texas. But in addition, as many, perhaps most of you know, UT and the UT system have been engaged for many years in widespread activities with public education, and in fact we're one of the nationwide leaders in that regard. But an additional initiative of the UT system is the public school initiative, or public school collaborative, whereby certainly UT Austin, but other parts of the system as well, will engage in activities that fall under the second and third categories that I had in my preceding slide when I talked about initiatives within campus and outreach activities. Within the campuses, of course, we need to be able to develop networking, computer classrooms, studios, and so forth. And in terms of our outreach activities, we hope to be able to engage to a much higher level with public schools, with teachers, with principals, superintendents, and so forth, as part of a much broader venture within the state of Texas. And certainly in terms of cooperative degree programs, I talked about some of our future ventures and possibilities, but in addition, of course, we have had that kind of activity for some time, and UT Austin has been a leader in working with, for example, UT Pan American and their new doctoral programs and so forth. And I firmly believe that we will have many more of these kinds of products if some aspects of our initiative are funded and indeed become successful. Finally, in the next slide, to talk a little bit about the future. All of you, I suspect, in one form or another, are aware of some ongoing legislative activities associated with deregulation, regulatory relief, telecommunications, and so forth statewide. To be sure, the pending legislation under consideration is broad and comprehensive and covers many areas that are not within the purview or the scope of our immediate activities, and certainly the kinds of things that we would talk at a meeting like this. But we hope that many good things will come out of the legislation associated with deregulation, and by and large they are directly related to the kinds of things that I presented earlier in terms of our system-wide initiative. We can identify, for example, 200 sites. These are colleges and universities, community colleges, health science centers, and a few other places where we need a high level of connectivity. And in fact, we hope, if indeed these deregulation efforts are successful, that we will have at each of these sites much higher bandwidth levels than we have at this time, and therefore we would be able to check off very significantly the first step or the first piece of what we want to do as part of the initiative. But it doesn't stop there, of course, because we recognize that there are other very high volume users, of which UT Austin is an example, that would need much higher bandwidth than the kind of bandwidth we would like to distribute to these 200 sites. And certainly we hope that the deregulation effort and the legislative proceedings currently underway would allow the co-location of equipment in central offices at our expense, of course, but in lieu of the kind of service implied by the first item up there, we would have the ability to co-locate this equipment, facilities access and so forth, to enable us to multiply 45 megabits by a significantly larger integer to satisfy the needs of high volume users, such as UT Austin, for example. We also hope that to have some kind of on-demand service whereby public schools at all levels will have access on a graduated basis to some of the kinds of resources and databases and libraries and networking activities that we have on this campus, but as I said, on a graduated basis. And to be sure, we would have fewer needs at the elementary level than we would at the secondary level, for example. But we also feel that this kind of connectivity is very important. Now, how are we going to pay for all of this? For the most part, unless we, in the past, as we have been doing, resorting to users' fees and so forth, unless we do something like that, we're not going to find separate line items in our budgets to promote these kinds of forward-looking activities. So we hope to be able to create, as part of this legislation, a couple of funds, one for educational technology and one for telemedicine, that would enable the creation of a pool of funds so that institutions could compete for loans or submit proposals on a competitive basis for the kinds of initiatives that I mentioned earlier, whether they be within the campus or inter-campuses, inter-system, part of outreach activities and so forth. Certainly, telemedicine is already a prominent part of what we do in the state, but has a great deal of potential that has not been tapped fully, but we feel that it will if some of these activities come to fruition. There's a large number of rural hospitals in the state of Texas, and we hope to be able to provide connections to them so that they can in fact connect these rural hospitals, these rural sites, to academic consult centers where experts in various fields can consult with physicians on site to elevate significantly the quality and the availability of health care to be found at these sites where little or none exists today. Those are the kinds of activities we have in progress. We've accomplished a great deal, but there's a great deal of promise that is yet to be fulfilled, and we hope that with the kinds of activities and efforts that have been described earlier today, with favorable funding and additional successes in the future, that much of this can come to pass. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Beth McIntyre. I'm an education program coordinator for the Data Processing Department, and I'm going to talk about how our education programs help us use technology to take advantage of the university's most effective resource, the shuttle buses. I'm kidding, of course. We're the most effective resource this university has, you and I, the employees. Today's technology is truly friendly, and it thrives in a cooperative environment. You can see the evidence of that environment as you look around this auditorium and recognize others that you have worked with in developing the common administrative processes of the university. This cooperative atmosphere is fed by the education programs provided through the Data Processing Department as a joint effort with all users of the data processing facilities. I'll tell you about these programs, which are available to you free of charge, and highlight the people who make them happen. Here we go. First, I'll talk about how we educate clients, the people who use information systems. Many of you use information systems daily in your work. When you have questions about the systems you use, you can call the Data Processing Information Center for help. We also offer classes to teach you how to use information systems available on this campus. In the electronic campus, you learn about logging on to the administrative computer with your logon ID and password. You learn how to send electronic messages to your coworkers with TX Mail, and how to schedule meetings and plan your time with our newly updated electronic calendar system. There are classes on how to use the new Alumni Donor System, VIP, and the Office of Accounting teaches many people how to manage their departmental accounting with Define. How many of you have taken one or more of these classes? Raise your hands. Great, look around at all the technology users here today. Well, you can learn more by enrolling in the technical classes we offer. In the technical classes, you will learn how to use Natural. Natural is an English-like programming language, so it's very easy to learn and use.
With just a 2-week introductory natural course, you will learn simple yet powerful tools to access data and generate reports. One thing that gives the technical classes strong appeal is that they're taught by people like you who have taken the classes previously themselves. The instructors remember what it was like to be sitting in the student seat and have been known to come up with creative ways to make people feel comfortable with technology. Beyond the introductory level, we teach a series of intermediate natural classes on advanced programming topics. We keep the technical classes current by continually incorporating the newest technologies in use on this campus. One class added this year teaches you how to download data from the mainframe to your personal computer. While the tools you pick up in the technical classes come in handy, you really take full advantage of them when you learn how to apply them in programmer training. In programmer training, trainees learn how to build a class scheduling information system through hands-on experience. Ideally, the information system trainees build will serve as their model framework for developing new systems that will help automate your office. Trainees take 3 to 5 months to complete this self-paced, hands-on training. Self-paced doesn't mean isolated. This training is characterized by one-on-one teaching and review and feedback from experienced programmers, like these participants in a program design walkthrough. Throughout this phase of education, we emphasize building systems that are structurally sound and easy to enhance and maintain down the road. We accomplish this by teaching standards developed by the campus-wide Standards Committee. By using campus-wide standards, we can effectively furnish a pool of trained people to provide continuous programming services to the university community. As part of programmer training, trainees have the opportunity to provide programming support and work with analysts on existing systems in other university offices. Since the trainees are among the first to learn and implement the newest technology, the analysts they work with also get up to date on those technologies. After graduating from programmer training, programmers immediately enter the Systems Analyst Apprenticeship Program. The purpose of this program is to help programmers acquire skills they will need to design information systems for their clients. Programmers are still learning with hands-on experience, like with programmer training, but as analyst apprentices, they work on systems that are currently used by all of you. Programmers are given a checklist of skills they should master, and their mentors guide them in the work they do to learn and use those skills. To further formalize the analyst training, programmers are interviewed by apprentice coordinators every 4 to 6 months to make sure they are making steady progress in acquiring the appropriate skills. Other departments have requested apprentice interviews with data processing coordinators. You are welcome a copy of the checklist we use and can even modify it to suit your environment. In addition to programming skills, this checklist incorporates LAN management or local area network management and other microcomputer skills. As apprentices gain programming confidence, expand their technical abilities, and develop analytical skills by working with clients on actively used systems, they also enroll in another series of technical classes. Christy Fisher is here to talk to you about the Systems Analysis and Design classes.
Hello, my name is Christy Fisher and I'm a Systems Analyst for the Office of Institutional Studies. I'm also acting as coordinator for Data Processing, Systems Analysis and Design course. This course is an avenue for acquiring the power tools necessary for building information systems. These power tools are tools which allow an analyst to communicate effectively with clients and determine their needs, to create files in which to store data, and to develop high-quality, object-oriented systems. Systems Analysis and Design is a 2-semester course that was first offered by Data Processing back in 1991. The course has proven so successful that many departments now consider it a prerequisite for promoting their programmers to the Systems Analyst title. Systems Analysis and Design focuses on both theory and practical application of system development methodologies. Topics include requirements determination, project management and planning, data modeling, file design, testing methodologies, and implementation strategies. The goal of the course is to provide students with project and system management skills necessary to assume responsibility for information systems in their departments. Emphasis is also placed on object-oriented design. Object-oriented design is a concept that promotes the utilization of standardized modular routines that can be easily plugged into many different systems across campus. The course draws on expertise from all across campus in presenting these topics. For instance, Bretna Hackert, a programming manager for the Office of Accounting, recently instructed the class on program design and test-to-production system migrations. Also, Tom Luker, an associate registrar, discussed the strategies that he used when implementing the text telephone registration system. The knowledge and experiences of these more seasoned analysts provide a real-world perspective for the class. The 24 students registered for systems analysis and design classes this year also represent a wide variety of departments, and each student contributes his or her own unique perspective and ideas to class discussions. One word that immediately springs to mind is synergy. I'm reminded of students like Charles Reitmer from the Utilities Department and Neil Calkins from the Business School discussing testing techniques and data modeling tools that are used back in their departments. The ideas that the students themselves bring into class discussions create a synergistic environment for students and instructors alike. While the Systems Analysis and Design class is in its 4th year, we strive to keep the topics fresh and current with campus and industry trends. We continue to stress key concepts such as object-oriented design and quality assurance. As a result, programmers acquire up-to-date skills and very powerful tools that help them to assume leadership roles in building information systems for their departments. Beth?
Thank you, Christy. What can you look forward to seeing next? We will continue to update these programs that are successfully training people to provide information services to the university. In developing new education programs, we continue to look to the needs of the university community. Most recently, we have developed an education program to provide land management training at the department level. We are currently fine-tuning this program. Perhaps the greatest value in these education programs is that they assume no prior experience with computer technology. This means that you're not limited to hiring people with programming and other technical skills. You have the freedom to hire people in your office for their strengths and knowledge of the functions you perform, and then train them in computer technology through these education programs. These education programs are truly cooperative efforts involving people throughout the university community. We invite you to enhance your technical knowledge and awareness by getting involved in these programs. At the same time, you will enrich these programs by bringing new ideas and fresh perspectives to them. By being actively involved in developing your information systems, you won't feel like they just fell out of the sky. Thank you, and please get involved.
Well, hello again. My purpose in speaking to you in this portion of the program is to describe and to highlight two trends which will be shaping the information technology systems for administrative computing over the next 2 years. Now, I also want to focus on how you can use these trends in your own work and in your own office to shape a new generation of systems. Both of the trends are already underway and already a part of our work, but I do want to emphasize that we will see an even greater expanded use of the first trend, which is toward greater access to administrative information services, and the second trend, which is toward more media-rich information systems. And by media-rich, what I mean here is that you will see all sorts of new data types integrated in with the information systems that you use. So we'll move away from text-based systems to those incorporating graphics, video, audio, speech, and all other data types. And not only will these become a part of our work, but will become commonplace. The focus of the first section, the first trend, direct access, really has three separate facets to it. The first is direct access services. The second is open data access, and the third is universal participation. By direct access services, I mean that we will be using systems where we provide services directly to the ultimate consumer of those services. You see these exemplified in the text registration system, in UTCAT, which were early adopters of this strategy, and more recently with UT Access and World Wide Web, many departments are beginning to restructure their information services so that they can provide services directly to students, faculty, and staff. They find that this approach not only improves the quality of service, but also helps to streamline their own administrative procedures. Open data access simply means that everyone should be able to view and interact with official administrative information records from wherever they are, whenever they would like to do this, bounded only by the requirements for confidentiality and security. And in fact, open data access is limited only by the requirements of the owners of data and the security and confidentiality policies that we have as an institution. Universal participation simply means that everyone who is a constituent of the university will be participating in the use of electronic information services. The thing that I would like you to think about over the next few months and years in the way that you organize your own systems is we should be able to depend on the fact that all students, faculty, and staff have access to information services, just as we depend today on the fact that all students, faculty, and staff have mailing addresses and have access to a telephone. Now, as we shift to talking about the infrastructure that's already been put in place to enable universal participation, open access, and direct services, Bill Bard has already outlined for you the fact that we have a unified networking strategy in place on this campus now. As Bill said, in July of 1994, the Data Processing Department issued a statement of direction for network access to administrative data, which stated that due to changes in technology and the cooperative efforts between data processing and the computation center, that we could now provide secure access to administrative services over the academic network, UTNet. Building on this, this policy statement also...
It's very difficult to limit to just a few minutes. I'll try to do this, however, by focusing on two areas: computer-to-computer transactions with outside agencies, which I will refer to as electronic data interchange, or EDI, and our own internal capabilities, such as the telephone enrollment exchange, UT Access, and the World Wide Web. Our ultimate goal is to use electronic commerce to improve service to our clients, students, and to better utilize the available resources at the same time. There's a wide range of electronic commerce applications available to the university community. Payroll has had direct deposit of paychecks to bank for 7 years now, and the Utilities Department has been receiving long-distance rate information on magnetic tape for 12 years. Companies nationwide have been dealing with many common business applications, including purchase orders, vouchers, and catalogs for many years. Two major reasons for using electronic commerce are cost savings and efficiencies. In student records, we've been receiving or sending transcripts electronically for 13 years now. We estimated early on in our transcript project that we would be able to reassign 3 of our transcript evaluators to other duties once we were fully implemented. This was made possible because of our ability to programmatically evaluate incoming transcripts, bypassing manual evaluation and manual data entry. For example, take Jane Smith, who is attending UT Austin. She decides to meet her History 315K requirement by taking a course at Austin Community College during the summer. At the end of the summer session, she requests that a transcript be sent to UT Austin. ACC would send the transcript that night, along with as many as 700 or 800 others. We would receive it the next day, and History 1613 from Austin Community College would show up on her UT record as History 315K. And all of this without anyone having to manually look at this transcript. Another benefit is increased accuracy available because no one has to rekey the data. We feel there are similar or better opportunities for savings within other university departments. For example, it's possible to handle purchase orders via EDI. I have seen estimates from companies who have converted from a paper-based system to electronic purchase orders who claim they save at least 50% on each purchase order. Right now, student records, external electronic commerce involves electronic transcripts and the Xpan electronic application for admission. We currently exchange electronic transcripts with 2 Texas school districts and over 30 colleges and universities statewide. Our most recent counts show over 25% of our college transcripts are received this way. We use a variety of formats, but are moving toward more widespread use of the national standard, Speedy Express. To deal with electronic applications, we have purchased the College Board's Xpan software. We purchased it for our use here and also for 20 different high schools within the state. This software will allow Mark Stevens, a junior at Bowie High School here in Austin, to sit down at a Windows PC with his counselor. There he would be able to browse through information on a number of colleges and universities, and then, should he so desire, fill out a custom application for UT Austin. They would then send this application to the College Board via a modem. A staff member in admissions would dial in later and pick up this application and what others are waiting. They would turn around and upload that application to the mainframe and process it into our student record system. Mark would then receive a letter itemizing the documents that we need to complete his process. Again, all without manual intervention. There will also be copies of the high school version of the software for use by applicants in the admissions office here on campus and in our new admissions office in Houston. This is what we're doing now. Onward through the fog to the future. A major player in the future of external EDI, particularly in the education arena, is the internet, which we've heard talked about on many occasions already today. 2 major reasons for this are cost. There's no volume cost once connected, and availability. Almost all colleges and quite a few of the secondary schools are already connected to the internet. As a matter of fact, several colleges and universities are already using the internet for electronic commerce, specifically for transmitting electronic transcripts. In the registrar's office, we're in the development stages of a project we call the transcript server. This is an internet-based clearinghouse for electronic education documents. These include, but are not limited to, transcripts, applications for admission, and course inventory information. We also have measures in place to address security concerns about the internet, and there are several major national initiatives to move toward a more secure internet. Some of the currently interested institutions, as shown on this slide, include Austin Community College, University of Texas Pan American, and the Alamo Community College District in San Antonio. The ultimate advantages to the university from the use of EDI are improved services and resource savings. The second part of electronic commerce is internal to the university, which I will define as TEX, the Telephone Enrollment Exchange, UT Access, and the World Wide Web. Each of these technologies has a lot to offer us. Student Records primarily uses TEX, a touch-tone voice response technology, for internal electronic commerce. Originally designed for telephone registration, TEX now includes many other applications, including grade reporting and admission status, and also expands beyond the office of the registrar. This slide indicates the current relationship for usage among the 3 technologies I'm talking about. On the UT Access front, both class availability lists, a public application, and address updates, a private application using the encrypted software mentioned earlier, are currently available. On the World Wide Web front, the Registrar's Office has published the course catalog and the course schedules on the web. Both undergraduate and graduate admissions have also published information with these resources, including ways to get more information via electronic mail. Electronic publishing in records and admissions originally started as an effort to make university documents more readily available to the visually impaired, but has had the result of making them more available to the entire university community and to many of those outside the university. The future of electronic commerce on campus will be a combination of these 3 technologies. As this slide shows, we'll be moving toward more equal access on the 3 different technologies. Text will continue to be a major factor as everyone's got access to a telephone. UT Access will become increasingly important, particularly for those applications that adapt very well to a full screen capability. Among the applications that have been proposed for UT Access include degree audits and a guide to financial aid by the Texas Guaranteed Student Loan Corporation. There are also plans to publish most, if not all, of the university's official publications via the web. 2 major advantages here include easier access and also being able to get office work done without the people in the office having to do it. Making information available on the web is now much easier. Having information published electronically can improve the efficiency of your office by handling the simple questions, freeing your staff to handle the more complicated inquiries they've been trained for. The web documents can also be set up to direct follow-on questions to an electronic mail address, allowing your staff to handle them at their leisure rather than being disrupted by a telephone call. Electronic commerce is an important asset to the university community. It can help us do more with less, which we're constantly asked to do. It will be a major factor in allowing student records to reach a point where a student will be able to transact all his normal business without ever coming into the office. This is one more step in our ongoing attempt to provide the best possible service to our students. And now in closing, I'd like to leave you with those famous, or maybe infamous words of Registrar's Office Electronic Commerce. Thank you for calling. Goodbye and good luck.
Well, I'm sure you're anxious to conclude, and I appreciate you coming. It's been a great day so far. And I'm going to give you sort of a little challenge here as we finish up the day and say, where are we going to go in the next 2 years, and how are we going to go about getting there? At the 1993 State of Administrative Computing Address, I spoke on the topic that I titled Coloring Outside the Lines, and I challenged each of you to think about the future, to think about what's working and what's not, and to think about how we're going to integrate new and emerging technologies. And to set the stage for that challenge, I told you the story of a man named Larry Myers. Larry was a LA truck driver who had grown weary of spending his weekends in his cramped backyard, and he decided to get a better view of things. So he tied several weather balloons to his lawn chair, and with a 6-pack of Pepsi and a cooler, a bag full of peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and a BB gun, he lifted off. He exceeded his expectations, though, when he went 16,000 feet directly into the path of the LAX International Airport. Of course, he stopped all traffic immediately, and he landed about 15 minutes later, 45 miles away from where he's taken off, and he was immediately surrounded by the news media. And a microphone was shoved into his face, and he was asked, "Were you scared?" "Yep," he said. "Will you do it again?" they asked. "Nope," he replied. "Then why did you do it in the first place?" He said, "You just can't sit there." And I hope you can see from these headlines and highlights that folks involved in administrative computing have not just been sitting there over the last 2 years. But even with all these successes, the facts are that the industry analysts tell us that the promise of the 80s have still not yet been achieved. The promise of the 80s was that the microcomputer will improve white-collar productivity. Notwithstanding the possibility that the term white-collar productivity is an oxymoron, I think that Bill Bard on our own campus has probably given the best explanation of any I've heard about why this phenomenon is true. And in fact, his explanation is really just a series of questions. He asked the questions, what happens in a bus station? He gives you a moment to think, and he said, well, among other things, buses stop there. What happens at a train station? Among other things, trains stop there. So what do you think happens at a workstation? So where do we go from here? What's the near-term future for us? I have 2 things that I want to give you today. One is kind of give you an overall goal for the next biennium for administrative computing, about some of the things that I see as important that I want to challenge us to get to. And then I want to review with you the key strategies for what I think how we're going to get there. The overall objective for the next biennium, in my opinion, is to integrate desktop and mobile computing with the entire enterprise that we have. If you put that in shoe leather, what that says to me is that we're going to move away from the 3270 kind of a text-oriented display and move into the graphical, multimedia, media-rich kinds of applications. That is a significant direction. You've seen a number of steps right now, and I'll guarantee you in the next few months you're going to see significantly more. We're also implementing the data warehousing concepts. Again, these are technical things that the impact is what's important, not the technology behind them. The idea there is that on the one hand, we want to be able to maintain an integrated corporate database, and on the other hand, we want to implement easy, simple, flavor of choice kinds of tools for you to store, retrieve, and manipulate data. And the third thing, of course, is the open data access strategies, our plans to support standards in an orderly but open kind of approach. And in many ways, I feel sort of like this spider, that if we're able to pull this thing off, we're really going to eat like kings. And I think we can, but we've got an intricate web here, if you will. So how are we going to do this? There's two things that's important to me and that I want to communicate to you today. And one is our people, and secondly is an idea called freedom rooted in discipline. When I think about people, I personally work because I have to. I mean, I love my job, but I work because I have to. If I win the lottery, guys, I want you to know I'm out of here, okay? Now, and I assume that you're the same way, that in fact, we can probably all make more money if we worked elsewhere. So the question is, why do we stay here? What is special about the university? I think in administrative computing, the thing which keeps us here is the environment. This environment is extremely supportive, it's encouraging, it's challenging, it's creative, it's enthusiastic, it's leading edge, and it's one where individual achievement is both recognized and honored. In fact, I consider the protection, the building and the protection of this environment one of my key, most important tasks that I can do. And if I fail at that task, then I think the university as a whole is going to suffer. But how do we measure success? Well, if we think about baseball, when you measure success, no one ever talks about the bat. It's the person who swings it. And when you talk about concerts, it's not the piano. It's the person who plays it. When you talk about transportation, it's not the airplane. It's the person who flies it. In communications, it's not the telephone. It's the person who calls you. And in computing, it is not technology. It is the person who brings it to life. And see, people here is what life is all about. And it's our business to be involved in the business of education, but people is why we do it. Among the professional people with whom I associate and work, I have found that there are three common human nature needs. One is that they need to be supported in a positive and an encouraging environment where they can express creativity and to solve problems. And if we don't provide them in that kind of environment, they will leave. So one of our strategies for meeting these goals, as I laid them out, is to focus on people and making certain you have an environment to do what it is you want to do and to express your own creativity and to take that creativity to making a difference in how we do business. The other major commitment that we're going to focus on is this idea called freedom rooted in discipline. It's my perspective that there is no advance in any area of endeavor without huge amounts of discipline. It's true in athletics, it's true in music, it's true in art, and I think it's true in technology, that if we don't take the time and effort to take a methodical, orderly, rigorous, consistent approach to facing the issues that we are addressed, then there's no way we will succeed. We have to have a context of discipline. This next slide here, from my perspective, more than anything else, encapsulates the idea where I want to take administrative computing. We see the information superhighway here landing in some cornfield in Nebraska or something, I don't know. And the husband says to his wife, so how do we use this thing to order a pizza? And that's what I want us in administrative computing to focus on. I want the information superhighway there. I want the web there. I want all these services. But I want you and I to focus on how do we deliver the pizza? How do we make a difference in our community? I think there's three things to do. One is we have to take this as a focus. We have to understand that delivering the pizza is our job, and we want to make certain that we understand that. Secondly, we have to properly use the appropriate information technology tools. You know, I was listening to Wally just a moment ago, and I thought he was talking about that Bowie student who was going to use a Windows machine to get him a transcript. I thought, if the guy can figure out how to use the computer, we ought to just admit him, you know. I don't know. But notwithstanding, we need to focus on this issue of discipline and using the tools that we have. And our third major issue here is the commitment to openness and standards, which we want to adopt. In conclusion, I see kind of a three-pronged place that we want to go to. One is we need an effective vision statement. We need something that has the power to harness all of the talents at the university so that we can focus on pulling in the same direction toward the same target and at the same time. We also need statesmen. We need men and women who both can and will lead us to commit ourselves to cooperative efforts. And we need entrepreneurs. We need people who will blaze the trails of new and emerging technologies and can be implemented in a way that really does improve the way we do business. We told my management group in data